Welcome back to today's episode on the Vintage Firearm Series. And today we're going to be discussing John Browning's last gun. Now, when he died in 1926, it is reported by some people that he was working at his desk designing a new gun. That wouldn't be shocking to anybody who would know John Browning. He was the most prolific gun maker of all time. His creations are legendary. Honestly, if you've ever picked up a firearm in your life, the design of that firearm was very likely affected by John Browning, either indirectly, directly. If you have ever used a charging handle, that was a John Browning design. So many, unbelievable. And his last design, or that he was working on, I believe he might have been working on several at the same time, but his last one that everyone thinks of is, of course, the Superposed. Now, what I have in front of me is a 1953 Superposed shotgun. It's in 20 gauge, which was, they never made them up, to the best of my knowledge, up until the early 50s. John Browning, of course, when he died, the shotgun was not completely finished. It was mostly finished. His son, Val, finished it up, and they introduced it in 1931, but that would be only on the 12 gauge variation. But that gun was heavy, as all over and unders tend to be. And so they produced this variant, which is very close to that of a 20 gauge side by side. I think we're talking something like 8 ounces in theory difference. Okay, so let's talk about this gun a little bit. It really does feel quite nice when you are tracking something or going, just moving, flowing through the air. It's just a wonderful feeling. It just really brings you there. A lot of people, depending on which part of the country you're going from, to hanging out, it really, they're thinking 12 gauge. And to be honest with you, in some distances, you have to go 12 gauge. In some gauge, if you're going after geese or something like that, you're probably doing a 10 gauge. But the truth of the matter is that for a lot of things, say 60 feet and under, I see no reason why you can't use a 20 and maybe even in theory a 28 or 410, depending on how good a shot you are. And the smaller the gauge that you're going to use, then the more accurate you will become over time. Either that or you won't catch much. So in any case, here you go. A beautiful gun, to be honest with you. Gorgeous. This one here, like I said, dates from 53. I have another one that same, just like it just dates from 52. I bought one and I thought, oh my gosh, I was so excited, and I bought the other one too. I just couldn't believe it. That's honestly a remarkable gun. Before we really talk about, though, in a little more detail about John Browning's last gun, I think we should talk for a moment about his first gun. That's the one that gained him the reputation. He had this gun and he was making it for about 3 years when a Winchester rep happened across it, bought it, sent it back to the factory, but the patents were good and they couldn't mess around with them. He was a smart young man, and he was very young. He started designing guns when he was 13 years old, and by the time that he made his first really great gun, he was in, I think, 20, 21, something like that. That would be about 1878, something like that. So here is John Browning's first gun. Not technically this is made by Winchester under all the rights that John Browning had. It's a remarkable gun. This was made 2 years into it. So they came out with the 1885. This is made in 1887. I'm calling that pretty close. So look at that barrel. Okay, isn't that fantastic? And I'm going to tell you, this sucker is not light for a little short gun. My wife said to me just this morning when I was preparing for this video, she said, "Oh, what a nice, cute little gun." So I handed it to her and she says, "Oh, it's heavy though." And indeed it is. It's got what they call a falling block action. Okay, so when you take down the action, it does fall away from the back. And this was such a fantastic design. Now, others had come out with things sort of like it, but John Brownings was so efficient and so effective. You could put big calibers through it. This is a 22 short. This is a small time. But the truth of the matter is you could put big game cartridges through this design. And Winchester didn't have a single shot rifle. It's hard to imagine. They were famous already for their repeating rifles, but they didn't have a single shot. And that's what they really needed to sell, because a lot of people didn't have the money for this fancy gun, right? These were just people out in the plains somewhere, and they wanted to feed their family and things. And this was perfect for it. So there you go. Look at the buttstock back in this era. Isn't that fantastic? They would, of course, eventually do away with that because that costs money. And over the years, as you go through the gun making whole system, if you will, the guns get cheaper and cheaper as they go along. And it's kind of sad in a way, because if they could still build these guns, I mean, how many guns would they build today if they built only with quality? Quality was the only factor. If it cost X dollars, that's what it cost. This is what it costs to make the gun. You buy it if you want. If not, that's okay. I mean, there wouldn't be many out there. Let's be realistic, because the labor today is incredibly high. And back in these days, labor was affordable and the materials were high. It did a switch somewhere right shortly after 1900, where labor started increasing and materials started going down. Well, one of the reasons materials were going down is because they were cheaping up. They stopped putting on bull barrels. The end of it was realistically in the late 20s. I'm going to be doing a video on a variant where it was one of the last out there, the bull barrels. And they're a remarkable gun. They just feel wonderful, and they're just going to be the most dependable option you can have. You're not going to put a dent in this one. You're not going to put a dent in the barrel. It's going to be hard. So in any case, a simple sighting, yeah, it's great. And it probably wasn't the best shot out there, but it's respectable. Like I said, this is a very low numbers. I love this gun. So this was his first. The other one was his last. Now, when they first came out with the over and under, this is what they had, 12 gauge. And I'm going to tell you, this is a heavy gun. Okay, we're going to weigh these out. We're going to get some idea. We're going to get the scales out. We're going to weigh these guns, and you're going to see why they came out with the 20 gauge. And fact is, during the 50s, they realized weight was a problem. And they came out with all of these variants of light guns, Sweet 16. That was a 16 gauge, obviously, and it was all lightened up inside. They did everything they could to make that a light gun. And it's a very much sought after gun today, even so it was made back in the 50s. This gun is really sweet, to be honest with you. 1953. Shall we look at this real quick? And we'll be doing a review on this in the future. Look at that bluing. Can you believe that? Gorgeous. Okay, so you still had the system here that is kind of complicated. As far as I'm considering it, it's kind of complicated on the safety. I kind of like safety on-off. That's it. Either it's on or it's off. It doesn't matter which barrel we're talking about. And I like the double trigger too, of course, but they didn't have that, so that's where that goes. No gun is perfect. You look at one gun and you say, gee, I wish I could have the very best of this gun and the very best of that one. Wouldn't that be a perfect world? But there were complications involved, and there may have been a reason why it would have been very hard to put a double trigger on this. I can't imagine it myself that they could do it for the side-by-side, but maybe there was variants out there. I'm not familiar with every variant of over-under because in principle, it's not my favorite gun, okay? I like them. I like John Brownings over-unders. They're really nice, especially a 20 gauge. That's why I've got 2 of them. Now, one of the things you're going to notice when you pick up a Superposed is when I first saw it, I thought it might have been pinned. Sometimes they have pins like that there. And this isn't because I've never had one apart, so I honestly can't say if it's a form of pinning or not. But the truth of the matter is it's not done aftermarket. It's done at the factory. Every one I've ever seen was just like it. So fear not on that. The numbers are right under the lever, so it's easy to find out. If you have a later one, you can tell by picking it up right away what year it is. The first letter will dictate the size of the gun, 12, whatever. And the next letter will designate the year. And I forget what those are, because those started about 62 or 60, I think it's 63. Those are not my favorites because, to be honest with you, what I've read online, I have no reason to question it, is that they made a couple of changes during those time. I can only imagine that those might have been done for cost-effective measures, okay? That was going through the gun industry all the way through this. Every decade, they try to cut the cost to the guns. I'm going to tell you, though, this is sweet. When you hold this right here in the wrist, you hold that. That's sweet. I'm telling you the truth. 12 gauge, I'm not going to say that, okay? I'm just going to be honest. But the 20 gauge is. So let's go ahead and take our little 20 gauge out there and see what we can do. Hey, you know what? My wife saved me a couple of big water bottles, and they're like, I think they're a gallon a piece. And we're going to fill them back up with top water, and we're going to take them out there and break them in, okay? So take it easy. Let's go outside. Okay, so here we go. We've got a couple of water bottles set up there. We'll load her up, and are we ready? I think that one worked. Well, what do you think? 20 gauge, what do you need? Moves a gallon of water. So, guaranteed, your 20 gauge, your Brownings Superposed from 1953 is guaranteed to send a gallon of water flying through the air. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Let's go back inside. We're going to, oh, you know what we need to do? We haven't weighed these guys. We really need to do that. So next step before we go back inside is to weigh them. Okay? Take it easy. I'm going to cut this off so we don't have a lot of dead time. Bye-bye. Okay, so here we are. We're out by the weighing machine, which is right by the shooting area. And then we're going to weigh this 20 gauge out here. If I can get it balanced. Pretty close. Okay, 6.5 pounds. That ain't bad. Yeah, that's right. 6.5 pounds. I have weighed that one before. Okay, but this one I've never weighed before. But I can tell you it's a lot more. Just like you pick up guns for a while, you get to know. Okay, 8 pounds, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 ounces. I edited out my sneeze. Okay, so 8 pounds and 11 ounces. I think that's what it is. You guys can probably see better from over there. So from 6.5. So you are basically, it's 2 pounds more for a 12 gauge, which is substantial. Another sneeze if you haven't been if I'm not out of the picture. So there we have it. Let's go back inside and we'll go ahead and finish up. Okay, take it easy. Okay, so here we are. We're back inside now. And that, to me, that was impressive. I'm always amazed by what a, these are of course expelled shells, they're not live. We just get them in from inside. So yeah, it's 20 gauge. It's really pretty powerful. Moves a gallon water jug, just sends it flying. So that's pretty cool. You know, someday, hey, maybe we ought to do a test of each one. I do have coming up something kind of interesting along those lines, but we may even expand on that in the future. I mean, just give it a run, you know, what the heck. So we're going to drop down our snake here, which is a 12 gauge. We won't tell the gun what we're doing to the poor thing. Not that it would matter, not that it cares. It's actually just going to be more effective. And so we're going to pull this. Damn, this one seems to be tighter. I don't know why. It must be catching up on the... works. Tell you, ain't gonna leave no crud in there. That's for certain. Okay. Now, let's, yeah, we got some cool videos coming up. I can tell you, right now, I can tell you there's gonna be some of the coolest videos. I can honestly tell you, the best is by far yet to come. If you like anything that I've done at all, anything at all, you're going to love some of the stuff that's coming up because I'm so excited about it. Just the thought about it makes my heart pound. I'm serious. I mean, I do this obviously because I love it, but you know, some of these things coming up are just going to be amazing. Not anything that I would do. It's about the guns, and the guns will speak for themselves. The guns will, in my opinion, get you excited. If there's anything left there at all, you think you're a bit tired with the world and everything that's going on, hey, maybe I can take away a little bit of that from you, you know. Do I recommend putting a 12 through a 20? Probably not, but you know what? I really feel, oh my. If you do that, I keep on saying this every time, but if you do that every time, you will never have a problem. I can see the light shining in through you guys. So it's shining on the camera. And let's do that one. Okay. Perfect, of course. If you buy a gun that's always been taken care of, and you do the same, it will last you many, many lifetimes. So until the next time, which will be very, very soon, I upload these, I film these once a day right now, and I upload them every other day, and that sounds like a little weird thing there, but actually I have to go on work travels, and I'm going to be gone for a while, but what I'm trying to do is get enough of them up that you'll never miss anything, and it'll continue to roll. I had 8 subs yesterday. I want to thank you. I am totally touched that 8 people found this channel and thought, hey, you know what? I might like to come back here at some point. And I'm so appreciative of that you can't believe it. I hope that if you're watching on YouTube, I hope you go over to Rumble. Rumble is really where it's at. Sub me over there. That one, the numbers are way smaller, but I'm going to tell you that I really appreciate each and every one of you, whether you be on Rumble or YouTube. Rumble's my favorite, of course. If you're watching on YouTube, this video was likely put up some time ago on Rumble. So you're watching a video that's very old. Okay? Go over to Rumble and you'll see the latest ones. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I am looking forward to the next episode. Every time I wake up in the morning, I think, hey, what am I going to do today? And I think about it and I try to come up with something exciting, and usually I do. Usually there's so many I want to do that I can only do one, because I only have so much time because I work full time. Take it easy. Enjoy life. It's special each and every day, and I will see you very, very soon again.